It's Sunday, and you know what that means. What's on the show today, JFB?
Let me tell you, Canada Dry, we have, of course, jokes, shenanigans, jocularity. We have a new sponsor,
Oh, my
and
goodness.
we are going to talk about the greatest wrestling controversies ever.
Controversies equals clicks.
Click,
All
click.
this and more on the All Effing Wrestling Show.
Hit the intro.
Coming to you live from the effing worldwide media studios located in parts unknown.
It's the All Effing Wrestling Show.
With your hosts, Canada Dry, and the JFB.
Tell me how it's priced. Tell me if the item is for sale. And tell me.
Good morning, afternoon, if I don't see you till later. How you doing? I am, of course, one of your co-hosts. I am the JFB, James from Boston.
And I am, of course, the patron saint of professional wrestling. I'm that gingered up bubbly. I said bubbly. Son of a bitch, I'm Canada Dry. Darn it.
Yeah, Canada Dry. And, of course, we are joined by the Perfection King himself. He is the Lord, and he's the Lord amongst all us servants and serfs. Introduce yourself.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where you're at. I am Lord Rich Southwood, your Perfection King, coming from you deep within the heart of AFW headquarters at the official AFW Man Cave. Happy Sunday, guys. What's up?
I love it. We are joined, of course, by Joseph Graham. It says, good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon to you. And here's a surprise. I don't know if you're ready for this, Canada Dry. Alex Haney says, hi, all. I'm in a good mood today. No crappy opinions. Oh, I will own you, your friend Haney.
I love Alex.
Oh, it's good when we get him on the rare occasion when he wakes up on the right side of the bed and he's ready to rock and
No
roll.
one
with
pissed in his cornflakes. He's good to go.
Nobody pissed in his cornflakes. So we got a great show. We got a new sponsor. But before we get to the whole rigmarole, it's time to, of course, introduce the first little morsel, if you will. It's the news. From the four corners of the globe, from our studios to your home, this is FNN, the FN News Network, starring Canada Dry and the JFB. Hey, good morning. Canada Dry, you're taking a big sip of coffee. Give us our fact of the day, if you will.
Okay, so I took 3 sips.
Ooh.
So I got 3 pieces of knowledge pouring in because I needed that coffee this morning. All right, so first off, your first little knowledge piece, your little tidbit is this: that the sandwich was invented by the Earl of Sandwich, John Montague.
Ooh.
And the reason it was invented was because he was having a poker game, and he needed to be able to eat it without using a knife and fork.
Yeah.
So we got them to bring him a piece of meat and 2 slices of bread, and that's how the sandwich was born.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, that's how the Earl of Sandwich created the sandwich. But these other sips, they're also speaking to me. This day, I think 21 years ago, I think,
Yeah.
Randy Orton had his first match in WWE
Really?
versus Bob Holly.
Yeah. Crash Ollie.
And the third
Hardcore
sip
Holly.
is this. It's Britt Baker's and Jamie Hayter's co-birthdays.
Wow. All right. Happy,
Co-birthdays.
happy birthday to the AEW Women's Champion and the former Women's Champion, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter.
They call him the Killer and the Pillar.
The Killer and the Pillar. I love it. I
And the
love it.
pillar.
Let's get to the news, shall we?
Hey, I have that
William
shirt.
Regal. William Regal went on Twitter, and outside of his grammatical and spelling errors, he did lay out that, in fact, the AEW separation was very copacetic. There was no hard feelings towards him or Tony Khan. It was better for him to go to WWE than to stay in AEW. He just wanted to clear the air. Canada Dry. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think this is much to do about nothing. I had no doubts about William Regal's gentlemanness. It's just purely about the time you have left and spending it with the ones you love. And
Yeah.
his son's there, so you want to make the most of the time you got.
Yeah, absolutely. Lord Rich Southwood, your thoughts?
This is old news, isn't it? I mean, like as soon as he left, everyone knew that it was because his mother was in poor health, and then
Yeah.
he wanted to be able to help his son that was on NXT.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense in the world. I think just like Canada Dry said, it's much ado about nothing. Like this
Yeah,
is old news.
the
Everyone already knew
the
this.
tribal nature of wrestling fans created a problem that wasn't there.
Yeah, or
And the
just an
dirt sheets,
issue where
and
there's
the
no
dirt sheets.
issue. I mean, not even a problem. Like it's not. The internet wrestling community is both wrestling's greatest strength and worst weakness, and it always will be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
the dirt sheets, they spread this too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Meltzer is like
I
full
mean,
on.
this is what dirt sheets live for,
Yeah, absolutely.
especially on those news day.
So our favorite Canadian wrestler that's not named after a Hart family member, the Mountie, has come out and said that Vince's decision for the screw job was the right decision. Canada Dry, you're Canadian. You care to speak on this?
Where's my
Oh
popcorn?
man, the Mountie, he's gonna have Brett hunting him down. Brett will get his man.
Yeah.
I don't understand this. I don't. It's a stupid thing to say, especially how many years ago was this? Just let it go.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, Canada Dry, you got to be relevant somehow, don't you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Poor Mountie. Mr. Perfection King, your thoughts?
I think that the Mountie obviously needs to get booked somewhere because he's got a little bit too much time on his hands.
Yeah.
So all
exactly.
you promoters up there in the Indies and Canada, let's get this guy some
Canada.
money. He's
Up there in
He's,
Canada.
Canada.
AJ Styles. AJ Styles.
Yes, welcome to Canada. Yes.
Oil me. AJ Styles, who's currently injured. AJ Styles, who's currently injured. There is no timetable for his return, so it's still up in the air. Naomi abandons the trademark of Trinity Star, and then decides to come out and say that the rumor about her not being able to wrestle for New Japan in Stardom was not because of money. I know that Bushi Road, who owns New Japan and Stardom, has come out and said that the books are not looking very good post-COVID, so they wanted to start cutting measures, but it was not. Naomi came out and specifically said it's not because I was asking for too much. It wasn't the right time to bring me in. So, New Day versus Imperium seems to be what is going to be happening. There is a roadmap. internally in WWE Creative that Imperium will be taking on the New Day once Kofi Kingston and Big E comes back. With Big E versus Gunther, or as I call him, Walter, is going to be the main focus of this feud. So Big E sounds like he's coming back a little bit sooner than we thought. Canada Dry, your thoughts on?
I was reading that he's in the gym, he's working out.
Yeah,
he's not in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
It's just not strong enough yet. For him to be able to be cleared. So I think we're looking at a short timeline here.
Yeah, absolutely. Rich?
I would like to take this opportunity to not acknowledge Elvis Martinez.
Well, here it is.
You are not the king. I am the perfection king, sir. You will be banned from this chat if you continue with such.
Hold on, Rich. Calm down.
Take deep breath.
He's Steve, and Steve needs to be acknowledged. So acknowledge Steve. He is your future limitless champion. Steve, we got you. We acknowledge you here.
I acknowledge you as.
He'll never be a former 2-time limitless champion like myself.
Just
so
everyone acknowledge Steve, and it'll all be okay.
Acknowledge. Yes. Hi.
Hey, Steve.
So the rumors about the upcoming bidding war now for WWE's 2 shows, SmackDown and Raw. An interesting party has come out and said that they are interested, and that happens to be Warner Brothers and Discovery, which is also the home of AEW. So it seems that when the television rights do come up this year.
Okay, let me clarify this, JFB.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't Warner and Discovery saying they're interested.
That is correct.
This is a dirt sheet saying they think that Warner will be interested.
Yeah.
Which is totally different.
Yeah, Warner has put out feelers to Endeavor. Apparently, that's the rumors that they put out feelers to Endeavor.
I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I think this is just something to just mess with AEW and fans' perception of AEW.
Yeah. So, Rich, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that in this particular case, it's exactly like the NFL right now. It's lying season.
Yeah.
So I think that if I'm correct, isn't AEW's TV contract with TBS and TNT up like at the end of this year, and they would be renewing sometime during this year?
That is correct.
I see why would you this? I think this is someone in WWE throwing out something to the dirt sheet writers saying, "Hey, Warner Brothers involved just to screw with AEW and to screw with Tony Khan." I don't think it's anything else other than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Kush says Big E and Gunther will be what Big E always said: 2 big men slapping meat in the ring. Kush, we love you.
Man, it's going to be a heck of a match.
Yeah, Alex Haney said there is truth in this. They made a big play for BT Sports in the UK and now own it, which has WWE TV on it. So, I mean, there's possibly a kernel of truth that's in this, but it'll be interesting to see, because WWE's got way more penetration. Oh, that's right. I said the word penetration. Penetration. They have a lot more. WWE's got a lot more penetration in terms of fans and numbers and stuff like that. So this is going to be very interesting when all this kind of comes to a head. Chris Jericho.
Didn't they just switch TV stations in the UK to where? Is this what Alex is talking about? To where WWE and AEW play on the same channel now? Didn't that just happen like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, it could be interesting to see. I mean, but from what I've heard too, AEW is way bigger in the UK than WWE is.
That is true. That's true. They got a bigger following there, and that's the way it was for Impact for a lot of years too. So, Noob is in the house. Hey, everybody, how you doing, Noob?
Noob.
Yeah, Joseph Graham says we will see AEW TV right negotiations are in a few months as well. So it's going to be interesting. Speaking of Tony Khan and AEW, do you know who happens to be the most important confidant in AEW to Tony Khan? Literally Tony Khan's right-hand man. The
Chris Jericho?
Ocho. Yeah, Chris
Ocho.
Jericho. That's right. Chris Jericho is to be named as the most trusted confidant to Tony Khan. So my question to you guys is, duh. I mean, who else would you rather have as your confidant than a guy who's been wrestling for over 30 years for multiple
I think before
runs?
that it was Cody.
Yeah.
And then it became Chris Jericho.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Rich, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. He's a locker room guy. He's well respected within the locker room. Everyone takes his opinion seriously. He doesn't jerk around with people. He puts everyone else over. Like, he is the quintessential person that you would want as a veteran on your roster. I have no idea why he would not be this right-hand man, especially after everything that happened with Punk and everything. Him
Yeah.
and Mox are the locker room leaders. It's their locker room as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Speaking of Punk, I got a couple of things about Mr. CM Punk. So according to Dirt Sheets, Punk has not apologized and has been told to not contact the Bucks. Canada Dry, do you want to contact the Bucks?
If someone wants me giving their number, I'll call them. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, we can mediate. Tony Khan, you're a fan of our show, and you're always listening and tuning in. So call the JFB. Call
Yeah,
Canada Dry.
I will get right in there.
Yeah,
And we'll have a media scrum right here on the All Evan Wrestling Show. We'll
Yeah.
fight
I will tell you, I mean, EK's hometown is only 40 minutes away from me, so I can be there in a drop of a hat if we need to have an
Yeah.
emergency. I'm
Yeah.
there.
Okay, so we got Rich.
There we go.
So we got Rich, we got Canada Dry, we got the JFB. We are ready to mediate if need be. So Punk's return is speculated now.
Mediate
Not
with Jack Johnson and Tom Leary, too.
so Punk's return is speculated not for the new show, but for June 21st edition of Dynamite in Chicago.
June 17th, actually.
June 17th. I'm sorry, you're right.
Which
June
is, I believe it is a Saturday.
Well, if it's Collision, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his debut is on
If
Collision.
it's Collision, it'll be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Collision
Well,
in Chicago.
I'm going to the June 21st show. I just got tickets.
Yeah,
I
the tickets
got
just went on
I will
sale.
be- yeah, I got them on Thursday for the fleet for the pre-sale.
Yeah.
So I had the code. I'm going to be dead center in the middle of the ring, opposite hard cam side. So you guys will see me and my son there.
So you're not a
Oh,
Collision, you're at AEW Dynamite.
okay.
Huh?
We're gonna get live reports directly from Rich Southwood.
Yeah, if Punk is there, and if that's his return, believe me, the video that will be taken will be out of this world, and will be
Absolutely.
only shown here on All Up and Wrestling.
Yeah, screw you. The rest of the
I've always
business.
wanted somebody from going to a Dynamite show to appear on Dynamite After Dark and report.
That would be incredible. Mercedes Moné is no longer your IWGP Women's Champion. She dropped it at a Stardom event to Mayu Iwatani. So she is no longer the IW. This is a short run. I mean, there was one title defense, and that was it. And
She just re-signed too.
she just resigned. Yeah.
Yeah, but this could be one of those things where it's, lose a title to get the feud going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And our last bit of news, Trish Stratus believes that she might have another title run in her. Canada
I
Dry,
hope so.
speak
I hope
on
so.
this.
I would love a heel title run from Trish Stratus. Just one more. Just
Yeah.
one more. I like me some Trish Stratus.
Yeah, absolutely. Rich, what are your thoughts?
I think that she looks great. She looks like she could go still. And if she has that fire and desire to go do it, let's freaking do it.
Yeah.
I would love to see. I mean, if you're WWE, all you're thinking is about all the money you're going to print off if she comes back and does this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're just printing money left and right at this point. So, Joseph Graham says Rich needs to bring a sign for AFW.
I think it's not already in the works, my fellow security man. Come
Yeah.
on.
He's put his kid to work as slave labor
Yeah.
to make the sign.
Hey, there's no free rides, okay? There's no free lunch.
All right, that is the news. Let's get into our favorite segment. It's the second morsel, and that is going to be Joke of the Week.
Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart. Every day, people are mocked because they feel that dad jokes are the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. That's messed up. I believe that no one should have to fight for their humor. It's okay to dad joke.
Joke of the week is brought to you by Backshaves.com. That's right, Backshaves.com. We're going to have a theme song. We're going to pitch it to Backshaves.com and tell them that they need to have a jingle when we introduce Backshaves.com. So here is Joke of the Week.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all F and wrestling community. It's Joe Graham here with your Joke of the Week. So this week we're going over to Europe, where Sven, a Norwegian man, is vying for the world title against a Russian man. Before the match, Sven's manager is like, listen, Sven, this Russian, he's undefeated. He has this move called the pretzel that no one has ever gotten out of. Whatever you do, you can't get in this move or the match will be over. Sven's like, okay, boss. So, fast forward 5 minutes into the match, Sven finds himself in this pretzel. And the manager's like, feels like all hope is lost, head down in his hands, when all of a sudden, the crowd cheers, he looks up, and he sees the Russian just flying in the air, landing on his back. Sven crawls over, gets the 1, 2, 3 as the world champ. After the match, Sven is talking to his manager. Manager's like, what happened? How did you get out of that? Well, Sven's like, well, like you said, I was in the pretzel, and I felt like all hope was lost. When I opened my eyes, and I see these pair of testicles right in front of my face, so I was like, I have nothing left to lose. I reach out, and I bite them. And the manager's like, why would you do that? That's so dirty. There's no need. You cheated. You could get disqualified. And Sven's like, no, not really. But, see, you'd be surprised at how strong you get when you bite your own testicles.
He bit his own testicles.
That was gold and grand. That was pure magic. Holy crap. Oh my God.
Christopher Columbus, as JFB would say.
Yeah. Holy Christopher Columbus. You know what? Holy cow. I don't think we should do another joke of the week ever again. I think we should leave that as a high note. But if you do have a joke and you think you can top Joseph Graham, send it to us. Smoke signal, carrier pigeon, U.S. mail. No, don't send it to the U.S. mail. That thing is unreliable.
Now, Jimmy, you are the Paranormal Eats champion of the world.
I am.
And this Friday, you're going to be defending that championship against Michael Smith.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for us on how maybe you can get that belt?
I'm not going to reveal my secrets only because it is so abnormally gross what I'm going to eat that it's going to make Michael Smith literally vomit watching it. He is going to be like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe Falcon is doing this. And yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Wait a second. Are you the peanut butter falcon?
I am the peanut butter falcon, baby.
I feel like we should have like a side character that you create so that you can morph into the peanut butter falcon.
I love it. All right, guys, it is time for the main event of the evening. And our main event is brought to you by our brand new sponsor. It is called Dubby Energy. Be better. It has no sugar, no maltodextrin fillers, and no artificial colors or dyes. It comes in drinks and chews. All the flavors are unique to them. And if you want to get 10% off, all you have to do is go to dubby.gg, type in the code Effin' Wrestling, and you will get 10% off of your purchase. That's right, 10% off.
And when you buy from them, it really helps us.
Yeah.
So support the show and try some Dubby Energy.
Yeah, I mean, if you need that extra boost, if you're working on a film set 14 hours a day like the JFB does, if you are gaming and you're going through like a 24-hour gaming session, you're going on a date, Like, you need energy, baby. You need energy, you
Go
know.
talk to
Energy.
ducks. You need some energy.
That's right. Go to dubby.gg, enter the code effing wrestling, and you will get 10%. So let's go to the main event.
Gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
All right. So before we jump in, we got a couple of comments. Newman Company says Trish Stratus as a heel is going to be interesting. Whatever she do, don't bury her. Some of the undercard talent. And then, of course, Alex Haney says when he goes to Wembley, my sign is going to be JFB is DB Cooper. Dude, if you do that, Alex Haney, you will be immortalized on
How? But there's going to be so many people there. How are they going to see JP as DB Cooper? Like, there's so many people. They'll be lost in the masses.
It's going to have to be like a green.
That's an
neon
easy
sign.
answer. The sign will be so epic because Haney designed it. The cameras will have no recourse but to record it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. Haney is pretty dynamic with his creations, so I can see that.
This is going to be interesting. I can't wait to see the sign for sure.
Hey, Haney, I'm putting you over, buddy.
Alex Haney says, can you mix W with Blue Chew? I imagine you could. I mean, who knows? Try it. Let's see what happens.
Listen, Blue Chew is not getting no free sponsorship on the show. You want to sponsor? Buck up, buddy.
Yeah,
Not getting
exactly.
no free
Oh,
sponsor
boy.
mention on the show.
So
The answer is yes.
yes. The answer is yes, but just be careful. Don't overdo
Consult
it.
your
Your position.
doctors. That's all I say.
Yeah, exactly.
Know your position.
So our theme for this main event is going to be the greatest wrestling controversies of all time, because we all know that controversies equal clicks. So I randomized the order. Canada Dry, you won on the initial spin. You're going to go first. What is your first controversy that you could think up off the top of your head?
Okay, so off the top of my head, the first thing that really comes to my mind is CM Punk.
I mean, that guy's just controversy when he walks out the door.
Oh yeah, like the thing about CM Punk is he will say what's on his mind and he won't hold back.
Nope.
And it's kind of funny that his mentor Bret Hart is kind of like that too.
Yeah.
But I feel Bret has a little bit more control over his.
He has a slight. He's got a slight filter, like a skosh of a filter.
Yes, he's like, okay, I probably won't say. Well, he's not a wrestler anymore, so you can get away with a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Like
Just-
Bret
I
wasn't
feel like-
controversial when he was wrestling.
No, I don't think he's controversial at all now, but I do think that Bret Hart definitely speaks his mind today more than what I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, like Bret wasn't coming out against people when he was wrestling, but CM
He was a
Punk,
professional.
Yeah.
CM Punk, that pipe bomb
Yeah.
that he did in WWE, that was controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Naming all the names.
Yeah.
Then the real controversy though is the media scrum.
Oh God. Yes.
All out.
Yeah, at All Out, it overshadowed the whole event.
Yeah.
And they had the backstage fight with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega.
Yep.
And what can you say? He's still in the headlines today about his comeback. So CM Punk is definitely controversial. Controversy equals cash. When he comes back, I think there's money to be made.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Rich, what do you think about that pick?
It's a great pick.
Yeah.
He is one of the most controversial figures in all of pro wrestling history,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that we are still talking about him over half a year later after Brawl Out and wondering if he's going to come back, when he's going to come back, talking about the Bucks, everyone involved in the situation. It
Yeah.
just shows how important he is to the business still now
Yeah.
that he's back. So I think, and TK's doing everything he can because all he can see is dollar signs.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
All he can see is dollar signs. So if he can, and this might be why Collision's going to be moved up earlier if they end up doing a brand split, so that way Bucks and Punk don't have to ever commingle. It might be the best. It might be the best answer to the question of how can we make money and get everyone happy and on board. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, I have very small filter to begin with too. And if it's on my mind, I'll say it. And that's a lot of it is due to my autism. I just flat out just say it. And if it clears a room, it clears a room. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm unabashed on my opinions for sure. But this guy, I mean, he doesn't play nice at all, which is good and bad. I mean, it's cost him, I'm sure, money from promotions and making big bucks, with the larger promotions. But that guy is gold when he's on TV. I mean, literally, that guy shits gold bricks, and Tony Khan's cashing them in, and it just makes sense. I mean, the guy was, before he even appeared in AEW for the first time, there was so much. I mean, Living Color was trending #1 on Twitter worldwide.
Mhm.
That shows you how much sway CM Punk has by just showing up and just talking on the mic, let alone wrestling.
Let me just say this: if Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart could coexist in a locker room,
yeah,
I'm sure CM Punk and the Elite can coexist.
absolutely.
See, you would think that, but today is a different day, and people are different people, and I don't see it being like it was back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that respect.
And you
I
got to
just
think,
don't.
neither CM Punk nor the Elite are as toxic as Shawn Michaels was in the day.
God, that guy was just a piece of crap.
Yeah, but you're talking about a toxic guy working for another toxic guy. So
yeah, they have the ear of the toxic guy.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's a different situation with Tony Khan, who is actually a caring boss and someone who cares and who's not so far up his own butt that and trying to pay off half of the women's staff or things that you said to him and all that stuff. I mean, you just gotta. It's a really different situation.
Yeah.
Hey, you're gonna piss off Haney. We got him on a good side. Come on.
Yeah.
See, I just put him over. I scored up some points in the bank there.
Yeah.
Chris says Punk is great for must-see TV and knows how to get people to focus on the shows and what he does. A master of attracting an audience, whether it's a good or bad thing. You're totally correct. I mean, he hit it right on the head. Rich, what is one that comes to your mind?
For me, and I will, as everyone knows, anyone who's ever seen any of these podcasts, and I say unabashedly, I am an Undertaker mark.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna say Lesnar beating Taker to end the streak.
Oh, that's pretty controversial.
I think it's nothing but controversy, and I think they only did it because they thought it would make money. And to me, that is disrespectful to Mark Calloway, a guy who since 1990 has done nothing but bleed WWF/WWE, who's been probably your most steadfast and stable locker room guy, and just on-screen talent for 30 years. And then all of a sudden, just because you have Brock Lesnar there, you let him beat him. Like, I think that's shit. I think that's very poopy of them.
Very poopy indeed.
Very poopy.
I mean, I'll say this.
To me, that's up there.
Yeah, I'll say this. I literally had tears in my eyes when Lesnar pinned the Taker. I literally had tears in my eyes. Like, it was so sad to see. And I mean, I know the old adage, records are meant to be broken, blah, blah, blah. But there's some records that just will never be defeated. Like Joe DiMaggio's 56 straight games with a hit. I don't see it ever happening again.
Or Cal Ripken's number of games played.
Oh,
in
yeah.
a row.
Absolutely.
Like, that'll never be broken, dude.
Yeah.
And like, to me, this is like, yeah, you got a few extra bucks, but is that really what you had to gain from doing this?
Yeah.
From breaking? Because it was what, 21-0?
Yeah.
When he got beat? Like, come on, man. Like to me, Undertaker, he never got the amount of title reigns that he should have had. Like he should have had so much more. And I feel like he was always the guy that they kind of just took for granted. And so this to me was just another one of those, man. Like you're taking him for granted when he's done everything for you.
Yeah.
Well, I think you know, the fans care a lot more about that than the wrestlers do.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I think Undertaker was fine with it. He, you know.
Well, I think Undertaker's fine with it if it makes sense for a story.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But I mean, like, I don't know. It just it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. All right. So I'll go next with mine, and you know, this was a tough one, but my first one that really hits me hard is the love triangle storyline that they had between Edge, Lita, and Matt Hardy that eventually became reality, where Lita went to Edge and left Matt Hardy. And I think that was a major controversy because it wasn't, I mean, they kind of buried the Matt Hardy character after that triangle, you know, and I mean, there was fights backstage. There was just all kinds of shenanigans that went with this. So, you know, you can't, you know, when you put a guy and a girl together that work together and they're traveling together and they're both married. Edge was married at the time. Lita was with Matt Hardy. Things are going to happen. And unfortunately, the thing that happened was Edge and Lita ended up together. So yeah, I mean that's like one that really just hits me right in the craw. God, Canada Dry, your thoughts on the love triangle?
Well, this was a really kick in the nuts for Matt Hardy because he then had to lose to Edge.
Yeah.
You know, so he had to work with him and he had to put him over after he stole his wife because he was a bigger star.
Yeah. It's horrible.
So yeah, that was quite the
ego punch, dude. Right?
Yeah.
Heart.
Yeah. But he was able to then go to the other brand and keep them separated because, you know.
Yeah.
I would like to hear what Matt Hardy's thoughts are on Edge today because you don't really hear it.
No, he doesn't. He does not talk about it, and I'm sure it's a sore spot. I'm sure if he's ever doing a signing and I'm close to it, I may go and just ask him and get a video of him punching me in the face. But on
well, he's married now with new kids and it's all happy, so I think we could probably talk about
it before he punches me in the face.
No, see, that's why I'll have my son do it. He won't punch a child.
I like the role.
Oh, I love it. Which way are your thoughts on the love triangle?
Well, when you say it, the first thing that I have to say is it's work that turned into a shoot.
Yeah.
But that's crazy, dude. And I think honestly, I hope that maybe Matt has put it behind him now that he has Reba and like 87 kids and everything else.
87,
everything worked out the way that it was supposed to. So like, and I can understand being sore about it a little bit still, like from an ego pride type of thing.
Yeah.
But you found who you're supposed to be with. You found your person. You got beautiful children. You're still going. You have longevity in this business, which is not guaranteed. So I think that Matt's got to think he's a pretty happy person.
Do you know what I would say?
He did good.
You know what I would say if I was Matt Hardy and you asked me about this? I would say this. Delete! Delete! Delete!
Oh, for sure. Exactly just that. Canada,
wonderful.
Rich, what is another one that comes to your mind?
Okay, so also, if you know me, you know that I'm a huge NWO fan.
Yeah.
For life. So another thing, and this almost killed me. The finger poke of doom.
Oh.
I remember watching this episode and I was so hyped for Nash versus Hogan.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Hogan did that and Nash fell, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is the most Hollywood Hogan and NWO thing that they could possibly do.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, but I was devastated at the time because I love the Wolfpack, and I thought, and they were so, like, everyone loved them so much. So I didn't understand it at the time, and it was pretty controversial because, I mean, they gave up that world heavyweight title on a Nitro
Yeah.
for a finger poke of doom. That
Yeah.
didn't make any sense.
Exactly. You know what? When I saw it, that's when I knew it was time to stop watching WCW. Is when the finger poke of doom happened, because
Close when I stopped.
yeah, because it's a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face to the promotion. It's a slap in the face to the fans. Because let's face it, you're talking about Dusty Rhodes. You're talking about Ric Flair. You're talking about these amazing world champions that have held that belt, that sacrificed their life and their livelihood to wrestle and have the opportunity to hold that belt. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you do a finger poke of doom, and then all of a sudden it's going to be okay. That's a slap in the face. I hated it. Canada Dry, your thoughts on the finger poke of doom?
Well, Hulk Hogan had been gone away for a while at this point. And Scott Steiner was the new leader of NWO Black and White.
Yeah.
And the Wolfpack was now more popular than the NWO.
Yeah.
Black and White. And so Hulk Hogan's ego could not take not being part of the cool brand of the NWO.
Yeah.
So this to me says Hulk Hogan. What did they say?
He says, "Can I?" Oh,
Ray unmasked Ray in WCW.
Yeah, taking a mask off of Ray was stupid wrestling.
That was up there.
Yeah.
But Hulk Hogan's ego could not handle that he wasn't part of the cool group, but he was coming back. Got to give me that belt, brother. And what better way than to show that we're the best by giving you the finger poke of doom, brother.
This is the perfect example of why WCW fell, because their main bookers were Kevin Nash, and he was a terrible booker back then. And then you have Hogan's contract saying, I get to choose who I lose to and who I don't. So when you make terrible contracts to egomaniacs, and you have people who are only booking for themselves, then that's what's going to happen. And that's why WCW fell apart.
Yeah. Kush says, that was such a Hogan way to go about it, brother. I couldn't do that with my faction reckoning. One that comes to my mind, that I think a lot of people, especially those who love ECW, was when Sandman was crucified on a wooden cross by Raven. Barbed wire around his arms. He jumped him over the edge of the ropes and then proceeded to crucify Sandman. What makes this even more controversial was Paul Heyman had Kurt Angle there trying to impress him to become a member of ECW and wrestle for ECW. And Kurt, who's a devout Catholic, a very devout Catholic, left. As soon as it happened, he said bye and left. And, you know, it's been done before. I mean, Taker's crucified a couple people on WWE, but it, you know, it was the Undertaker symbol. It wasn't the cross. If you listen to Bruce Pritchard, you know, he tells you time and time again, he was not crucified. He was just placed upon the Undertaker symbol and then raised up in the air. But Raven crucified Sandman on a cross with barbed wire, and it boggles my mind to this day that how that even got through. You know, it just made no sense. Canada Dry, your thoughts on
ECW?
I think that this was a extremely bad booking decision for one reason and one reason only.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to offend your viewers.
Yeah.
You know, if you got people that are Christians, you don't want to you don't want to tick them off. The other thing is you lost Kurt Angle.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like you could have had Kurt Angle as a big part of ECW.
Yeah.
And you lost him. So
Yeah.
obviously this gimmick didn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. The Perfection King, your thoughts?
I will speak to the fan of ECW circa 97, 98. They're not going to care if you put them on a cross. I'll just tell you that right now.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're watching ECW, you were completely fine with that.
Yeah.
You were probably mad that Sabu wasn't in there bleeding as well. That was probably more of your concern at that. But yeah, the big thing is you lost Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
That's huge. And if you're Heyman, I almost expect more of you. Like you didn't know that. You
Yeah.
didn't know that would offend him. Like you didn't do your homework, and that doesn't sound like Paul Heyman to me, or Paul Lee Dangerously as he was back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely. But he was always pushing the envelope there.
Yeah.
So in terms of it being booked that way, not surprised at all. But it does suck that you lost Kurt Angle out of it.
Yeah. So Alex Haney says Paul claiming he didn't know it would go that far was hilarious. I mean,
oh, come on. You were behind it 100%.
Heyman has come out publicly and said he didn't know it was going to go that far. I mean, it's bullshit. It's bull crap. I mean, we know it's bull crap, but I love the fact that Heyman still to this day does not concede that this was all part of the plan and he had no knowledge it was going to go that far.
Here, let me connect it to something that I said too as well, because speaking about Lesnar breaking the streak,
yeah.
I watched an interview with Heyman probably from a couple of years ago, and he's like, what makes you think that Lesnar was supposed to do that?
Yeah.
What do you think that if Lesnar got in the ring and just took out Undertaker, that Undertaker wasn't going to just let him do it because he can?
Yeah.
So like he always brings that air of mystery of, is it a work? Is it a shoot?
Yeah.
Did I really know? Did I not know? That's part of his mystique and part of his allure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you claiming that it was an audible to have?
No, I'm just saying that's what he's claiming. Yeah. Maybe that's what it was.
Well, Undertaker was quite injured in that match, and he had to go to the hospital right away. So
right. So I don't. Maybe that's why the streak was broke. Who knows? But I mean, but the way he presented it was like, how do you know Brock just didn't go in there and do what he wanted to because he's Brock effing Lesnar?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I thought that was an interesting way to cast or to view it through that perception as well, just to kind of connect everything, like I said before, with Paul Heyman. He's a talent.
Yeah, absolutely. Captain Dry, what's one that's on your mind?
My number 2 on this list is Brian Pillman.
Oh, Brian
now,
Pillman.
This guy, he is controversial.
Yeah.
If you watch Dark Side of the Ring, you know that he had everyone wrapped around his little finger. He was going to different shows, playing them against each other.
Yep.
It was brilliant. But the main one that he did was the gun angle protecting his home, where Stone Cold is coming in, trying to break into his house.
Yeah.
And Pillman's ready there to shoot him.
Yeah.
And this is the only time Vince McMahon has ever apologized for an angle.
Yeah.
And I remember watching this. I'm like, I was like, is this happening? And the TV goes off the air. And then the announcers kind of no-sell it and get back to the match.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I wonder what's going to happen with them. I hope he's not dead.
I love it. That gun. I literally was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like Pillman, who looked like a crazy man, holding the pistol, shaking it, and getting ready to blow a hole in Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was,
but let me say, he is also within his rights to protect his home if someone's invading it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he's supposed to be the bad guy. Stone Cold's supposed to be the good guy. So messed up.
It's so out there. Lord Rich Southwood, your thoughts?
This was 1990s television at its finest.
Yeah.
This could have been on HBO.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
and it was on USA TV.
It was.
Like, as a young man, like in his upper teens, I think I was 16 or 17 at the time. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going for that demo, then they certainly did their job because, like I said, with the time that it was in the 90s, that was perfectly acceptable.
But
Yeah.
you
And it
wonder,
was
sponsors must have been pissed because to make Vince
no,
McMahon apologize.
no, the
Why
media's
would he
run by the
apologize if it did so well?
conservatives. NRA was loving it. Are you talking? What are you talking about? They just funneled thousands of dollars to him after that.
Then
They're
why
like
did Vince
best
apologize?
friends.
Tell me this, Rich.
Because other people said something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's what
Vince
I'm
McMahon
saying.
does weird things.
It's the parents who it's the parent councils that are calling up USA going, this is absolutely horrendous. And I'll never forget that the guy who one of the guys that writes for TV Guide who always bashed wrestling like wrote a huge article about how WWE is just out of control, and he used the Pillman gun angle as an example of why you should not watch WWE. And I'm sure that turned a lot of people off, you know?
Let's consider the time frame too. At this point, the media was very heavily involved in saying that rap music or hip hop and video games were destroying the minds of our children, and that's what was causing these school shootings because that's when it began to happen.
Yeah.
So wrestling was lumped in with all of that as well.
Yeah.
Because of like the attitude era that was going on in WWE, got lumped in with video games are bad, hip hop music's bad, these are all things bad for our kids. So,
Yeah.
well, I just want to throw in some context there as well for
Yeah.
our viewers out there.
To me, this is very what's that show where they're all throwing chairs at each other and finding out who's the daddy or whatever.
Jerry Springer?
Yes, Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer of Vince McMahon.
Alex Haney says they lost a brand new Mattel deal and took a decade to even get them back in negotiations. That's true. They did lose advertisers. So one that comes to my mind, which just, it just doesn't make sense. But the Katie Vick storyline. So for those who don't know, it happened on a Raw. Triple H comes out and asks Kane about the name Katie Vick. And he says, no, I don't know anybody named Katie Vick. Next week, Triple H starts doing a promo about Katie Vick. And Kane comes out and says, well, we were high school friends and we were at a party and she was drunk, so I drove her home. And an animal crossed the road and I swerved and I crashed the car and Katie Vick was killed. And then Triple H went ahead and decided to go ahead and recreate what actually happened, and that both of them were drunk when the accident happened. And then Kane proceeded to have sex with the dead body of Katie Vick. Vince McMahon publicly apologized for this. Their stock went down big time. It was at an all-time low of $7 a share after this took place. Vince, so apparently the word is Triple H wanted it to be comical, Kane wanted it to be comical, the writers wanted it to be a funny gag. Vince said he wanted it to be like a soap opera. There were several writers who left after Vince forced them to make it serious. So Canada Dry, your thoughts on Katie Vick?
Well, you almost wonder if this was the springboard to go the PG route.
Yeah.
Because after this, things started to kind of tame down.
Yeah, quite a bit.
And this to me, this was an all-time low for WWE for their storylines.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Kush says, I'd love to be a fly in that room when Vince, as crazy as he was, and still discussing the segment in the room and the looks of Kane and Triple H. I mean, I don't even want to know. Yeah. Rich, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's just wild to me. Like I wasn't watching the product at that time, but that just the sound of it all seems at the very least in poor taste,
Oh,
and at the very worst,
Like a few people were maybe
in
high
really,
when
really
they came
poor
up with the idea.
taste. I mean, yeah, like you said, the stocks drop, dropping sponsors left and right. Maybe necrophilia is not the way you should go.
no, definitely not. There's a way other ways you could have gone. Necrophilia, not one of them. Kids, if you're gonna be a booker or you're gonna write for wrestling, don't do necrophilia. It's always in poor taste.
Remember, kids, just say no to necrophilia.
It's going on a shirt. I can see it next week. Canada Dry, what's one that comes off the top of your head?
Okay, so one that's just sitting there on the top of my noggin is Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Now, Cody Rhodes said that while he was in AEW near the end,
Yeah.
he was trying to make fans boo him.
Yeah.
Which was like, we didn't know at the time. We just thought he was hated.
Yeah.
But apparently he was doing little things like the I'm gonna save America thing, and he did that on purpose, apparently.
Yeah.
But we all wanted him to go full heel, but he didn't want to go full heel in AEW. He wanted to just kind of get under your skin sort of heel.
Yeah.
So then he goes to WWE.
Yeah.
And he's a big deal.
Huge deal.
He gets injured after destroying Seth Rollins, beating him every time. And then he goes all the way, wins the Royal Rumble, goes all the way to finish. Just got to finish the story, Roman Reigns, and win the World Championship, only to lose it to Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
On the night 2 of WrestleMania. To me, that was the wrong decision, and it's just like everyone just left disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. Rich, what are your thoughts?
I've never been a Cody Rhodes fan.
Yeah.
Up until his current run in WWE. I like him a little bit better there for some reason. I don't know why. I guess probably I'm just, as a son who's lost a father, I can understand wanting to fulfill that legacy.
Yeah.
So in that terms, I want to see him win the world championship, the WWE World Heavyweight title. I want to see that happen for him as a person.
Yeah.
For that catharsis that it will give him on a personal level. And I know that will help bring him peace and bring him happiness. So I want that to happen for him. I never liked him before. I just never did. I never saw the appeal. But he's, and the thing about, if he was trying to be some sort of tweener in AEW, that just seems par for the course with all the other decisions he was making in terms of the feuds with a go-go, the whole American thing.
Yeah.
All of it. It was all just not smart he didn't present himself well. And
Yeah.
I think that ever since that he made it to where he couldn't challenge for the world title, he just painted himself into a corner, and he had to get out of AEW to get out of that corner.
Yeah.
Now, I think if he comes back, maybe he'll be adored by fans.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Do you know what
We'll
else
see.
is controversial about Cody Rhodes?
His hair?
His hair. Cody Rhodes' hair should be on the list. Oh my goodness.
Maybe a big old fat neck
Just-
tattoo?
Stop. I don't even mind the neck tattoo as much as that piss hair dye.
Yeah.
Just go brown, do it natural. Come on.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the whole thing with Cody Rhodes, I mean, I'm not surprised at what happened with Cody losing to Roman Reigns. That was probably the least surprise, because we saw how Vince screwed over Dusty when Dusty came over to WWE. So it would only make sense that Cody left WWE for greener pastures, excelled, flourished, made a name for himself, became a huge phenom. And then he comes back to WWE, and Vince is just like, you just wait and see what I do. You're losing to Roman Reigns, sucker. Like, but him.
You think Brett was screwed?
Yeah.
Wait till I see what I do to you.
Oh, that's perfect. I mean, him leaving AEW, where he helped found it, was a huge controversy, because nobody really knew reasons why. I don't think we still do know really the reasons why.
Do you guys think that there's a possibility he returns to AEW one day?
I think so. I think once he does a decent title run in WWE and he gets kind of bored with the whole back and forth and all the travel and all this and all that, I think he eventually ends up back at AEW. I don't think he'll be an EVP, but I think,
No, and then he can come back and challenge for the title.
Yeah, I can definitely see Cody Rhodes coming back to AEW probably within the next 4 years. I think it's very viable. So, Rich, what's one that comes off the top of your head?
I enjoyed the movie that the storyline is coming from, but the storyline itself was not so great.
Yeah.
And that would be when David Arquette won the WCW World Heavyweight title. Now, Ready to Rumble was a fantastic movie, in my opinion, and I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
But David Arquette actually winning the belt was one of the most absurd things that I think I've ever seen. And once again, just another example of why WCW went down to the toilet and is no longer with us, because they made decisions like this. Yeah, yeah. This was just, I mean, once again, if you put your blood, now, granted, Arquette now is a real life professional wrestler, and he's put in time. But then, if you got to imagine being one of the guys in the locker room, and you're like, this schmuck here is our world heavyweight champion now.
Oh yeah,
for real. So I don't know. I remember watching it, and it floored me. I was like, I couldn't believe it.
The only words I can use to describe David Arquette is, I will rule you. Yes. You're right. I mean, Vince Russo was also a world champion in WCW.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I was totally, bro. I was a world champion, bro. You can't beat it, bro. I booked it, bro. Like, it was so horrible. And if and when you were surprised that WCW folded, it should have came at no surprise whatsoever, because when you put the belt, again, worn by Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and so many other great wrestlers over the years, and you're going to slap it on David Arquette, that was the nail. That was that final nail in Darby Allin's coffin. Like, they just nailed that thing shut. Canada Dry, your thoughts on David Arquette?
Okay, so David Arquette, I think it's only bad because WCW folded.
Yeah.
Had WCW recovered and flourished, it doesn't matter, because Vince McMahon was the world champion too.
That's true. You're right. He is the world champion.
So I think it's only bad because they failed. And you look at they become larger than life, because like, this is why WCW.
Well, okay, but still, Vince McMahon is WWE though. David Arquette was a Hollywood guy that came from outside. It's still not the same.
I'd rather David Arquette be than Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying, at least Vince was connected to the product.
David Arquette, with all the negative, he went out and became a real professional wrestler, which is really cool. He's actually on the Hey You podcast from AEW. So you guys can check that out. But yeah, he did the whole pizza cutter and thing with Nick Cage.
Yeah.
And I admire that documentary with I forget what You Can't Kill.
You Can't Kill David Arquette.
That was one of the best wrestling documentaries I've ever watched.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Canada Dry, what's another one that comes off the top of your old noggin?
Okay, let me see. You know what it is? Vince McMahon showing up on the last episode of WCW. I think that was really controversial. And to me, it was a dark feeling.
Yeah.
Because now you only had WWE. So it's like, for him, it was a victory. Kind of victory lap sort of thing, and in your face sort of thing. But for fans, it was just like, oh, now we don't have anything else, and we didn't have another thing for like 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it 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 shocked the hell out of me. I turned into Nitro, because they said it was the last Nitro ever, and Sting and Ric Flair were going to go at it one more time, and part of my sentimental heart wanted to see that one last match between the Stinger and Ric Flair, and Vince McMahon showing up just made me sick. I'm like, we're this is it. Like, we're screwed because you can't be competitive without competition. And if you have nobody to force you to evolve, you are just going to get lazy. And that's what WWE became. They became extremely lazy until AEW showed up. And then they started getting a little bit more creative again. Perfection King, what are your thoughts on Canada Dry's pick?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of wrestlers that day were very, very sad because there was only one place to go now.
Yeah.
As opposed to, two, the big one. So it was a long lasting effect on talent for a long time that you really only had one destination. So
Yeah.
you had to maybe take less money, or you had to do this, or so it was something that affected the talent for a long time. And
But do you think he should have let WCW have their last show without getting his fingers in there?
should he? Yeah. But that's a Vince McMahon move. That's, look at me, I'm the center of attention.
Yeah.
I'm the most important person. Everything is around me. And like that was his way of flexing and showing that he defeated them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Rich, do you have another one on your mind?
I think something that was controversial at the time probably is when Medusa threw the belt in the trash.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, because you didn't see stuff like that happening. You didn't see belts going from one place to another, and I was still smaller, and I was just getting into wrestling, and even then, at that point, I was like, "You're over here now? Oh, what happened? You got that belt? But that's the wrong channel. You're supposed to be on channel 4. This is channel 6." And so my very young wrestling brain didn't understand what was going on. But looking back at it now, I was like, "That's a ballsy move."
Yeah. I mean, to see the current champion take the belt and then drop it in the trash on a Nitro that's live when WWE was taping Raw at that time, was a shocker. I mean, it was a shocker where she just took the belt and went and plopped it in, and she returned the belt. I mean, she returned the belt to Vince during her Hall of Fame speech. But yeah, I mean, you can't. It's just
she got in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Are you saying that belt never stayed in the garbage? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think she took it out afterwards.
The other thing about that was they really dropped the ball on that.
Yeah,
because you could have okay, now you have this and give her a WCW women's belt.
Yeah,
and that'd be so much better looking.
Yeah,
and actually have a women's division to defend the belt.
Yeah,
but they never ever had a women's champion after that.
Yeah,
which is just like, why did you even do it? It was almost just to stick the finger and that's it.
Yeah, she didn't even wrestle. She had 3 matches since that controversy, which is ridiculous. That you have probably one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time.
Yeah,
and you're not using her at all. It was just Bischoff's way of saying, right to you.
Yep.
So I got one. It's a person, and yeah, it's Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard, her dad, one of the great all-time wrestlers, Tully Blanchard. She got into wrestling. She was trained by her dad. She was trained by Magnum TA, 2 of the great wrestlers from the 70s and the 80s. And she became the Impact World's Heavyweight Champion, beating men. So she was like a modern day China at that time. And then she just buried anyone and everyone she could get in contact with. She was like a hurricane and a tornado with sharks and crocodiles all in the mix, coming right at you and just destroying everything. And like she nowhere everywhere she goes, she pops her mouth off and she gets in trouble, and next thing you know, she's moving on to another promotion. I mean, she was in Women of Wrestling for what, a month before they finally got rid of her. I mean, she's bad news no matter where she goes. Canada Dry, your thoughts on the...
Okay, so friend of the show, La Rosa Negra,
Yeah.
She said racist remarks,
Yeah,
to her in the indie scene.
Yeah.
And all this came out, and is what really destroyed Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah.
Is all these little things coming from women all over the wrestling scene of how she's racist and she's just not a nice person. It all came out, and pretty much she never fixed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Southwood, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. She definitely shot herself in the foot more times than once, and it's sad because like you look at her and she like is a big person. Like she would be, if she could just get her head screwed on, she could probably be such a good talent, and she would be a good opponent for people, and she could be so believable in the ring, and she has the pedigree. And so it's just sad to see that, someone's crappy personality has ruined the chance of them being good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the only place that could really redeem her would be WWE if they took a chance on her.
I mean, they did. They put her in the Mae Young tournament, and
yes, but this was before she was.
That's right. This was well before she decided to start thinking that she's all that.
World champion either.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So like, I think if they were able to sign her and get her head on straight, make her do counseling courses or whatever.
Yeah.
Sensitivity training.
Anti-racist courses here.
Yeah, that too. I mean, they let Hogan come back, so
that's true. I mean, if they let Hogan, who happens to be the biggest racist of them all, and they let Ric Flair is still associated with WWE. He's a flat out racist. I mean, like they could have. You're right. They could very well easily bring Tessa Blanchard in and kind of put a rein on her and see if they can rein her in. So. Because I'd love to see
what?
what? I think we're at the end of the show, are we not? Yeah. So Canada Dry, you have anything you want to add before we go into our spiel?
So hopefully we get an episode of Dynamite After Dark this week.
Yes.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. We'll have an awesome episode of Wrestling with Paramount on Friday. I have stuff that happened in my house.
Oh.
Some ghostly stuff, and it's really creepy, so I want to share that with you on Friday.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have a great episode of Magic of Wrestling on Saturday, and then of course we'll right back here on Sunday with the All F and Wrestling Show. We'll have some awesome stuff.
Yeah. All right. So if you want to get in contact with us, and we know that you do, there's two ways to go about doing it. You can go to youtube.com/effing wrestling. You can click like and subscribe, share if you will, send it to all your friends, let them know you're a watcher, and then they will go ahead and watch, and then our numbers will increase. You can go to effingwrestling.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then you'll see right there on the bottom all our social media links. Both those sites link to our AFW site. What's cool about AFW is that is our prediction league. Now, Canada Dry, you're a subscriber to Prediction League Monthly. I have one. Rich has got one. And every month they put out the rankings in the back of the book. In the last page, they put all the rankings down. AFW is number one again. This is 14 months in a row that we have been number one.
Like our logo, because they like sticking our logo on there because they just love it.
Yeah, you put a logo like that on there on the front of the magazine, I guarantee you some kid's going to buy it. He's going to want to predict for AFW. So if you like t-shirts, and I know that you do, you can easily go to prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling, where you can get all your amazing shirts. We have the effing middle fingers, worn, of course, by the beautiful and attractive Natalia Markova. You can get the All Effin' Wrestling shirt. Ay, ay, ay.
Ay, caramba.
Ay, caramba. Or you can get the Kool-Aid shirt. Damn it. Just get the shirt. All you have to do is go to ProWrestlingTees.com/effing wrestling. Now, if you like old school wrestling, and I know that you do,
I do.
I love it. I love old school wrestling. You can go ahead and go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Adrian Adonis, where you can get your Adrian Adonis t-shirts. That's right. You can get an Adrian Adonis t-shirt, him flipping off the middle finger to the world, because that is how we approach the world. Screw everybody else. We are the best. We don't like racism. We don't like this. We don't like that. We want equality.
We don't
and
like
inclusion.
this. We don't like that. I love it.
So all you got to do is go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Adrian Adonis. And don't forget, if you want to get energized, you got a big date, you're working on a film set, you're working a 14-hour shift in the warehouse, you're punching a clock, you need that extra boost. Dubby.gg, DUBBY.gg. Use the code effing wrestling, where you can get 10% off of your total order. On behalf of Canada Dry and the promo god, the Perfection King, Lord Southwood, I am the JFB.
I'm going to put my ring on right now.
Yeah, do it.
And remember to just keep fighting.
Bob and weave, baby. Bob and weave. Hit it. This has been an effing worldwide media production. You can find us on all social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and others. Head over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/effing wrestling. And while you're there, click like and subscribe. Want some swag? Head to our store at ProWrestlingTees.com/effing wrestling. You can find all these links and much more at our awesome website, effingwrestling.com. As the JFB always says, you can book it. I will